everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And it seems like the knives are coming out for former Rep. Katie Porter, who is running for governor of California. And this woman is unhinged, mentally disturbed, and she has incredible trauma in her life. She is out of her mind. And after several videos released last week, the criticism is now widespread, even to the Democrat Party. Porter's opponents and other Democrats rebuked the former House member this week after she sought to end an interview early over a question that visibly frustrated her, and I have the footage here for you. Shortly after Politico obtained the video of Porter berating a staffer in 2021 for entering her live shot while she was recording a video with then Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, this fueled even more backlash. Though the California primary is months away, the incidents are threatening to hinder her momentum in the race to succeed term-limited Gavin Newsom, where several polls incredibly show her leading by 5-6 points. According to Democrat strategist Daryl Sargow, quote, voters can be very forgiving, but they're forgiving only when the candidate or the elected official who's transgressed fesses up, admits that they made a mistake and that they had a bad moment and apologizes for it, and that often works. And that's true. Americans are very forgiving, and we don't have a very long attention span. We forget shit. Now, there are some politicians who their egos are enormous and they can't apologize. Richard Nixon won. Rudolph Giuliani won. But Bill Clinton proved it. If you just go on TV and say, hey, listen, I fucked up. I'm sorry. It'll never happen again. I had a moment of weakness, but I'm here to fight for you. People move on. People move on. And during an interview with CBS News that aired last week, Porter was asked what she would say to the roughly 40% of Californians who voted for Donald Trump last November and who she would need to win. And this agitated Porter to no end. It's a simple question that every candidate gets, especially a Democrat candidate. And she just couldn't handle it. She just had no way of handling it. Porter started to appear frustrated later in the interview when Watts noted her prior suggestion she didn't need Trump's voters in order to win the gubernatorial race. And, quote, from Porter, no, I'm not. I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can, Porter said at one point, seeking to clarify her position before she later signaled she wanted to stop the interview, which is that doesn't happen. Politicians can't just end interviews because they're flustered or they're frustrated. It's the opposite of what you want to show your voters. You want to be cool under pressure. You want to be able to face anything and everything that comes your way with grace, with power, with God, what's the word I'm looking for? With you want to be cool under pressure. And I've said to you many, many times, leadership roles are not for women. She is out of her natural element. This is not her fault. This is society's fault. Oh my God, I sound like one of these Black Lives Matter people. But it's the truth. We've given women we've lied to women all these years saying, oh, you could do anything a man could do. No, they can't. This proves it. It proves it. And a campaign spokesman said Porter continued the interview for another 20 minutes after the exchange, so she comes back. CBS did confirm this. But not long after Porter's interview with Watts, Politico reported on a video it obtained, which was taken in 2021, that Porter was recording remarks with Granholm, and at one point, a staffer comes into the background, into the shot, and they're in a house, and the staffer's wearing a mask, which goes to show you what kind of nut job this woman is. Porter told the staffer who was walking into frame to get the fuck out of my shot. Quote from Katie Porter. The staffer said she wanted to correct something Porter had said during the conversation with Granholm. Porter then said, "Okay, you were also in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot." Stay out of my shot. Now, of course, this is a tremendous opening for any of her opponents, and many of Porter's challengers took the opportunity to criticize her over the incidents, with at least one Democrat going as far as to say she must drop out of the race. She's not going to drop out of the race unless she's losing. And right now, it seems like she's winning. But it's very, very early. The primaries are going to be in August of 2026. So it's very, very early in the game. This woman might be forgotten by January. She might have a bigger lead by then. California's sick. These people are mentally insane. I'm telling you, it's the fumes from the San Andreas Fault. I'm telling you, there's something going on there that's driving these people mad. Democrats on social media have responded to the incident, criticizing her for her behavior and being unprofessional. What she's being is a woman, a fat woman who wants to be heard, who's probably ignored her whole life. Boys didn't want her. She's probably mocked by, the pretty girls in school, the cheerleaders, all that shit. And now this is her revenge. She wants vengeance. Others who had endorsed her have come to her defense. I don't know how, but they have, including Teamster California co-chairs and the California Federation of Labor Union president. They are basically communists. So she must have promised them the world. Now, several polls which surveyed Californians months before the June 26 primary and these incidents suggested Porter was an early frontrunner, though the field hasn't crystallized yet. There's a long way to go, a very long way to go. Emerson College polling survey released in August showed Porter with an 18% support. Steve Hilton, a Republican, was behind her with 12%. Berkeley Institute of Government Studies showed Porter at 17% first place, with Republican Chad Bianco at 10% and former Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra at 9%. Anytime there's a candidate named Xavier or Becerra, that candidate you cannot vote for. I don't care if he's a Republican. I don't care what he is. He will bring Mexico to your state. And California's just sick. Porter's campaign signaled it wasn't concerned about her strength in the primary moving forward, projecting she's a fighter and the fighter that California needs. This is from campaign spokesman Peter Opitz. Californians are hungry for a governor who they trust can fight for them against Donald Trump. I don't know why they keep bringing up Donald Trump. They know from her work taking on powerful interests in Washington, that Katie is never going to be shy about calling out bullshit. And this is why every poll shows Katie firmly ahead. Politics has really gone down the tubes. Before there was decorum, highly educated people, and their vocabulary proved it. Now you got these people they curse anytime they want, and they say y'all. If I had $1 for every time I heard a teacher or a politician lately say y'all, I could retire. And it just shows the degradation of society. It just goes to show it. Democrat strategists also noted that while her behavior may have been unprofessional or bad at the moment, staff abuse isn't an uncommon occurrence in an industry that can feel like a pressure cooker, and sometimes people have a bad day. I wonder if the roles were reversed, and if that was a man yelling at a woman, if they would say the same thing. I don't think they would. Now, here are some of the incidents. This is the interview here. It's about 3 minutes and 3 seconds. And there's old Katie, mashed potato Katie. And I'll tell you why I call her that in a minute.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The hands, if you've ever taken any sort of communication courses or body language courses, the hands up in the face, and her hands are way high. This is a defensive mechanism. Stop. You're making me uncomfortable. Stay back. And this is what this woman's doing. She's mentally disturbed. She's mentally ill. She's had a lot of trauma in her life. She was probably raised by a very angry mother who mocked her for her body, mocked her for her looks. And she probably had a weak father or maybe no father at all. And this is her revenge on people. This is why she treats people like shit. She's been treated like shit her whole life, which is unfortunate. But she shouldn't be in the executive office of California either, the second biggest state in the union.
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
Correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered our follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you
Already
either.
on camera.
I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting is a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up questions.
This is why you cannot have women in politics. She can't handle this job. How is she going to go through a debate? The debates next year are going to have to be nationwide. That's going to be must-see TV when she's in a debate. I mean, because this woman's sick. She's mentally disturbed. We all know she is. Wait, sorry, I messed that up. Here's the here's the one where she goes crazy, and I'm sure you've all seen this before. Of Katie yelling at a staffer. Now, of course, this looks like it's in her home. It's in a kitchen. Who talks to a federal officer in their kitchen with a background like that? I mean, don't you have an office? Don't you have somewhere more professional? I got to see your kitchen set there. I mean, it's just, this is a mad woman. But here she is yelling at a staffer, and the staffer wearing a mask. I would have yelled at the staffer for wearing that face diaper, but Katie probably is afraid of fake diseases.
It's dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems, and the state could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm gonna.
And the constant okays also are a signal that she's very, very unhinged. Okay. It's crazy. It's just insane. And listen, this is what women are, man. I mean, Katie Porter, it's now coming out that the former husband of Katie Porter, some guy named Hoffman, Matthew Hoffman, said that this woman frequently abused him verbally and threw toys, books, and other objects at him during their marriage. They were married from 2003 to 2013. Even pouring hot, scalding mashed potatoes on his head during a fight. Matthew Hoffman, who filed for divorce from Porter in 2013, which is very, very rare. 82% of women in the United States file for divorce. So this guy was out of his fucking mind with this bitch. He wasn't having it anymore. Said in the request, he requested for a restraining order, and that's even more. That's even because men don't like 99% of restraining orders are filed by women. So this bitch has got to be crazy. In 2013, said in a request for a restraining order dated on April 30th of that year that he was routinely called a fucking idiot and fucking incompetent by his rage-prone spouse, who also shattered glass, coffee pots, and other kitchen objects on their kitchen counter. In March 2012, when she felt their house wasn't clean enough. This woman is mentally disturbed. How is anyone in their right mind? This is California, though. How in your right mind can you read that article, and say she's qualified to be the executive of my state, of the second largest state in the union, or the second population-wise, a state that has enormous natural resources, and a state that also has a propensity to have natural disasters in it, fires, earthquakes. How is she going to handle this shit? I'm telling you, if she survives to the primaries next August, once these debates start coming up, they have to be on national television. They just have to be. You cannot have this woman. You can't have this woman. She's gold. She's like Kathy Bates in that movie with what's his name? Oh God, what the hell was his name? James Caan, the Stephen King book. The hell is the name of that movie? Misery. She's the woman from Misery. She is out of her mind. And this is what California is voting for. This is what California is voting for. Now, Piers Morgan gave her a little bit of stick, I should say, when she was on Bill Maher. Let me just get that here for you. And good for Bill Maher for, this is a couple of years ago because she's still a rep. Oh, no, maybe 2023, 2024. But they're talking about boys being in girls playing girls sports, pretending they're girls. She totally supports it. I mean, she looks like she's wearing a wig. I mean, she could be a Chris, but allegedly.
We should be able to have a civil debate. Nobody, including Riley Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should feel
What do you
physically.
disagree with, out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who
But
and
what
how
has she
should
said
compete.
that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's
I mean,
not?
I've got no truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
But she has
She actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Leah Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of biological females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley is speaking up for herself, and that is her prerogative, and I respect her free speech.
I think she's speaking up for pretty much every female athlete in the world.
I
I mean, wasn't that the point of Title IX? Title IX in the early 70s was something that was it was a major event in feminism, that we finally have this law that says at colleges, right, and I think high schools too, but definitely colleges, women's sports have to be given equal to men's sports, so that women aren't and this led to the WNBA and lots of other stuff. This seems to be the opposite of that. It seems to be so many instances, I think, where wokeness is the opposite of what I grew up as liberalism. Liberalism was, let's give the women an equal shot.
And meanwhile,
This is
Did you see that face on her? She is so disappointed in Billy taking Piers's side here. She's. It just goes to show that Californians will vote for anything that has a D next to their name. These people are that whole state should just sink into the Pacific.
But let's
I mean,
put a
well-
male in the swimming pool with the women. I don't get
It's
it.
crazy. And meanwhile, trans people who genuinely want to compete at athletics and swimming or whatever it may be, they're the ones who are suffering here. They need to be found a way to compete fairly and justly.
Look at that posture. She's looking down at him, really scowling. Her body positioning is away. She cannot stand this right now. There is no way this woman can be governor. Just no way. There's no way.
What's your answer then?
I think there's one or two answers. I think they either compete against their biological sex, as many of them did before, or you create an entirely new category for transgender athletes. And then they're able to compete fairly. But what you cannot do is continue to allow more and more trans athletes to start decimating women's records, in some cases, irrevocably. It's just not fair.
Okay.
All right. So, where does that leave us? It just goes to show how unnatural it is for women to be in leadership roles. It's just not in their nature. And Porter is proof of this. They are not capable of being in charge of, I think California has 20 million people. There is no possible way this woman can get this job. Just no way. And hopefully there's more videos of her coming out, because not only are they entertaining, but hopefully it'll tighten this race up. But you know what? I don't have any confidence in the people of California. There are about 70%, and I have relatives there, and I have a lot of friends there. I visited, and I love them to death. And I ask them all the time, how did the state get to be this way? And they're like, well, bad decision here, bad decision there. No, it's bad decisions all the time with California. It's got to stop. And if they put this woman here, and you know what, in a way, you almost want her to be put in this position because something will happen during her term that just might be the Spear of Destiny moment. I've talked about the Spear of Destiny stuff with Constantine all the time, where it'll force these people, the horror that will be inflicted on Californians if this woman is governor might be the tipping point of saying, you know what, enough's enough. We've gone the Democrat liberal way. It's over. We don't want to deal with it anymore. No more women, no more gays, no more liberal bullshit, no more of these crazy taxes, these crazy ideas. We're going to try something different. You can only hope, but it's up to California. And if they vote for this woman, they deserve all the horror that they will receive from this woman, because she's not running for governor to serve the people. She's running for governor in vengeance of the past trauma that she endured, most likely, certainly from her mother, because all women carry hell within them and they unleash hell on you to destroy you. And that's what Katie Porter's mother probably did to her. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, my friend Satan is always busy, and he had a little fat girl that he's using to try and destroy, well, trying to make California even worse than it already is. Be a man, have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.